Steel clashed, and men screamed as the courtyard dissolved into madness. The mourning banners burned, trampled beneath boots slick with blood. What began as grief turned into open war. Soldiers who had shared wine now split each other open without hesitation. The coffin at the center of the courtyard shook as bodies slammed against it, as if even the dead were being dragged into the fight. On the balcony, the king watched the kingdom fracture below him. His son's banners were rising inside his own palace. His guards were falling. The roar of rebellion swallowed his commands. When a blade nearly reached him and a loyal guard died, shielding his body, something inside him broke. This was no longer a throne to defend. It was a trap closing in. He turned and fled. Through corridors only royalty knew, past sealed chambers and ancestral walls. His hand struck the hidden mechanism behind the carved dragon panel. Stone shifted. The secret passage opened. He slipped inside and sealed it shut, the noise of civil war muffling into a distant tremor behind stone. The tunnel was cold and suffocating. Torchlight shook in his grip as he moved quickly through the damp corridor, breath uneven, robes dragging against ancient steps. Dust fell from the ceiling as the battle above continued to rage. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Not behind him. Ahead. The king stopped. A shadow moved at the far bend of the tunnel. Both figures reached for their weapons at once. Steel flashed in the dark. Hanjasu, the scholar. They stared at each other in disbelief, both breathing hard, both fugitives in different ways. You, the king said quietly. You declared me a traitor, Hanjasu replied, grief and anger tangled in his voice. Before another word could pass between them, a distant shout echoed from the tunnel entrance. They're not in the chambers. Search below. Boots thundered against stone. Metal scraped. Torches flared. The secret passage had been discovered. The king's face drained of color. This path was known to almost no one. How, he muttered. Hanjasu felt the answer before he understood it. Someone had told them. Someone inside the royal bloodline. This had not been chaos. It had been engineered. Light flooded the far end of the tunnel. Soldiers poured in, armor clanging violently against the narrow walls. There, kill the king. Not capture. Kill. The command sliced through the air without hesitation. The king's expression hardened. So this was the end they planned for him. Arrows shot down the corridor. One grazed his shoulder. Another shattered near Hanjasu's face. Soldiers rushed forward in a crushing wave. The tunnel became a cage of steel. The king fought despite his age, blade moving with desperate precision, striking down the first attacker, then the second. But more replaced them instantly. Hanjasa backed away, heart pounding. If the king died here, the crown prince would rule unchallenged. If the king survived, the kingdom would split further. And somewhere above them, in a shattered courtyard soaked in blood, the princess lay in a coffin while men killed each other in her name. The soldiers advanced relentlessly. Kill him. Their torches cast monstrous shadows against the stone. The king stumbled as a blade cut into his side. Blood darkened his robes. He dropped to one knee but forced himself upright again. Hanjasu realized with chilling clarity that this coup was larger than ambition. Someone had arranged the riot. Someone had ensured the tunnel would be exposed. Someone wanted the king dead and the blame buried under chaos. A sword rose high to strike the final blow. And in that breath, a hidden section of wall behind Hanjasu suddenly split open. A hand shot out from the darkness and seized him violently, dragging him backward. He barely had time to gasp before the stone panel slammed shut between him and the king. On the other side of the wall, steel crashed. Men shouted, "Finish him!" The sound of blades striking flesh echoed through the tunnel. Then silence swallowed everything. Total darkness. Hanjasu's breathing shook as he tried to orient himself. He wasn't alone. A soft whisper broke the black. You were never meant to meet him. The voice was calm, familiar. His blood turned to ice. Because it was hers.